Here we go. Another episode of All Rell and Good on the Crawford Podcasting Network with one of Richard Rellford's former teammates. He was the co-captain of the 83-84 NIT champion Michigan Wolverines, along with Eric Turner, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
He's a longtime analyst, an NBA player. He's a guy I like to listen to. And Tim McCormick, welcome. And I got to tell you something, Tim, right now. I was watching the Michigan High School Athletic Association state tournament this weekend, and yeah, Devin Gardner did all right, but I missed you as an analyst, man. What's going on here?
Yeah, I missed being there. I was a little bit surprised. I feel like I've been doing those games for 30 years, but I like Devin. He did a nice job, and it's always good to let young guys get a chance too.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, I wanted you at that Williamston Grand Rapids Catholic Central game. That was a
great
heck of
game.
A game. That
a lot of talent out there.
That was
Michigan's got great talent, man. Michigan is tough.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and I've always enjoyed that tournament, and I used to always attend it, but now I got lazy in my man cave. I'm going to turn on McCormick, and he's not there, So maybe another time that you get back into that, Tim.
I hope so.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna put a cap to the Michigan basketball season as it ended up pretty good. Rich, we'll start with you, Mr. Positive. Coming off that loss to Villanova, I mean, 12 of 29 at the rim. The woulda, shouldas, or I'll bang my head against the wall. The woulda, shoulda. They should have won that game, Rich.
Well, I thought we had a great chance to win it, Tom. What got me was when we started missing layups.
Yeah.
When you start missing layups against a team like Villanova, they're gonna capitalize on everything that you do, and that's exactly what they did. And in the last 5 minutes of the game, man, I started feeling real bad. My positivity was going out the window.
Tim, I follow you on Twitter, and your content is off the scale. And I thought you made a good point about entry passes. That was one of the struggles that Michigan had in terms of the offensive sets.
I think that it's not just a flaw with Michigan, but throughout college basketball and even the NBA. I always thought Rich was a really good post-entry player.
Right.
And the reason he was good is because they made him throw it inside to Roy and I and Robert Henderson and Butch Wade. And that's where you learn how to do it. Now, when he came out of high school, he wasn't very good at it because he had nobody to feed the ball to. They were feeding it to him.
Yeah.
So
I think that the reason that Hunter was missing so many layups was the fact that he was exhausted down the stretch. He was working a lot harder than he normally does because they were three-quarter fronting him and full fronting him. And so the Michigan perimeter players are not good if Hunter's wide open to feed the post. If you put somebody in a three-quarter front, then he really struggles. Also, he was working really hard, helping on pick and roll situations and switching on the guards. And so I think he had no lift in the last 10 minutes of the game. That was the biggest issue I saw.
Yeah, and Rich, your other guy in the post, you marvel at, and you think he has a high ceiling, and I hope the heck he comes back. He needs to come back. Moussa Diabate. It seems like in congested situations, he has a hard time holding on to the basketball.
Because I think it's the traffic. Because he's so used to making a move on a one-on-one guy.
Yeah.
And when they drop the man down on him to double him from each side, I think it kind of caused him a problem. But you know what I learned? As a freshman, he'll get that. He'll start kicking the ball out and getting it back instead of trying to make a move right off the initial play. I saw him trying to do, when you get double teamed, and Tim knows this, kick it out. And your guys will give it back to you. They'll get it back. But you can't, as a young guy, you don't know that though.
Yeah. Well, Tim, where's Moussa? From the pivot standpoint, where's Moussa's game? Obviously, we all think he should come back. What do you think he needs to work on next year to be a more dominant player at the collegiate level?
Well, his hands need to strengthen. There were a lot of rebounds and a lot of passes where his hands touched the ball, but he didn't come up with it.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to see him, put the ball on the floor one time and power over somebody. When he catches the ball near the rim, he has to gather himself by bringing the ball down to his waist to get enough strength to be able to go up and balls get stripped. He had several dunks blocked I also think that we didn't see a lot of that early when he was fresh. It's a long season. And so through conditioning, through strength training, he'll get better at that. And trust me, the college season's 35 games. The NBA season is 82 plus exhibition plus playoffs.
Yeah.
If you play for somebody other than the Pistons, so, that will come. But when you get to the NBA, you really need to be ready because it's not a developmental league. They've got a lot of games, and there's always another matchup coming, and so you don't have a lot of time to work on drop steps and catching the ball and some of the basics. It's just game after game after game.
Rich, Caleb Houston's another young guy who you said he'll get better, and he has gotten better over the course of the year. But he offered it against Tennessee. They won the game. He did some other things, and he gets rebounds and things like that. And he had a great start against Nova.
Yes.
I mean, he had that reverse layup, and then he had the 3-ball in the corner. He had 5 points out of the shoot. So you start to think, okay, it's on again, off again with Caleb, like it is with T. Will and some of these other cats. But then all of a sudden it stopped right there, and he didn't contribute. Were you surprised? I mean, what did he do wrong from the 3 not to contribute more?
Lost confidence in his shot.
Yeah.
Because not only did he lose confidence, he got tired. I think a lot of the guys got tired. And the first thing to go for you when you get tired is your legs. That's the first thing they've always told me. When you're a jump shooter and you shooting things short, that's because you ain't got no more legs.
Yeah.
And he lost his legs. I think like this. I don't think anybody on our team should leave to go pro, except for the guys that are seniors.
Yeah.
Because
you're
not ready. Like Tim said, I didn't stay in there as long as Tim, but I know one thing. You ain't no developmental league. You ain't coming in there to say, I want to learn how to do this or learn how to do that. Nah. By the time you get there, you got 82 games, man. You might play 90-something games if you make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And there is no way that you're a young guy. I don't think these freshman guys are ready. I really don't.
Tim, in 1984, I'll confess to you, I was disappointed you didn't come back to 85 because I thought, McCormick could come back because you had another year, I think, from that injury. You could have come back, but you go to the NBA and you were a first-round draft pick, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And so that was the right decision. I mean, what's your thoughts on a guy contemplating about going to the NBA when he's not even projected to go in the 2 rounds that they have now?
Tom, I was selected number 12, and my thinking was that if they were going to invest the number 12 pick in me, they were going to let me play.
Yeah.
I did not want to go to the league and sit on the bench the whole year. And if I would have been a 2nd-round draft pick, that's probably what would have happened. When teams make an investment, the GM wants everybody to say, gosh, that guy's smart. He picked so-and-so and he's contributing and he's ready to go. Also, I was 22 years old and had been through a lot. I got the chance to play, against Roy Tarpley every day in practice. I played in the Big Ten. I had gotten stronger. I walked on campus at Michigan at 195 pounds, and I left 235.
Wow.
And ready to go. And so that was my thinking. When you go there as a 2nd-round draft pick, if somebody gets hurt or you really exceed expectations, they're going to play you. But for the most part, you're going to be in the G League a lot if you're a 2nd-round pick. And I think that if you look at the economics of it, someone like Hunter may actually make more money with NIL at Michigan, and he'll get more exposure playing on ESPN instead of no TV than if he goes and is a 2nd-round draft pick and he plays for the Fort Wayne Mad Ants.
Yeah, Michigan's got this football has this outstanding Deion Johnson's son, Will Johnson's coming in from Grosse Pointe South. He's never played it down at Michigan. Okay, he's playing spring ball. He just inked a deal to be a spokesman for a restaurant in Detroit, $53,000. So he's got $53,000 coming his way as a 18-year-old. Okay, wow. That should suffice. Okay, as far as going to have a burger down at the Brown Jug or something like that. I mean, so I agree with you, Tim. I mean, it's there. What a great way, I think, to retain athletes from making that bad decision of going too early where you're orphaned and you have no place to go.
Well, I know I heard Rich earlier say that he's going to be in Ann Arbor next week. Why don't you bring some of those alumni bucks into the NIL?
There you go, Rich. It's all on you, buddy.
Listen, Tim, just imagine if we had NIL deals when we were in school. You know, that's what I tell everybody. I'm so amazed that these NIL deals, the kid from St. Peter's, the little guard with the mustache.
Yeah.
He just inked the deal with Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, well, the cheerleaders are making money. They pick basketballs up the top of the.
Rich was riding his bike around campus. He would have big Lincoln back in the day.
So,
no, the Lincoln was Butch. Butch had the Lincoln.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Well, I'll tell you what. Unlike Tim McCormick, Richard Rellford did not arrive on campus as a skinny 195-year-old. I mean, he was a man.
Matter of fact, Tom, I came in with Tim Wade. I came in at 2:30.
Wow.
And Tim got up to 2:30. So that lets you know that we were pretty big coming in there, man.
So Tim, what'd you think of this Rellford kid coming in here all developed? Are you a little impy there that you had to work on your weight to get bigger?
Well, no, from the very start, I was just energized by his leaping ability and dunking, but also he made the game fun. He and Eric Turner were lightning rods for our team. They were electrifying. They played such a fast pace. And so it was a great addition from day one. And everybody knew that the small forward position was his, and there was really nobody else to take it.
Yeah, well, I mean, as a fan, I recognized this guy, you know, was pretty multidimensional when he came in there, and it took a couple years for you guys, you know, with Tim, your senior year, you got to the NIT, and then they were off to the races, winning Big Ten titles the following 2 years. So Rich, how important was that NIT run? And that was the NIT was, you know, a little more coveted than it is right now because there were lesser teams in the NC2As. I mean, what was that experience like for you with Tim leading that and Eric Turner setting the groundwork for the 2 Big Ten titles the following 2 years?
Because we had Tim and Eric. See, teams don't realize how much leadership, how important leadership is.
Oh, huge.
When we won the NIT our sophomore year with Tim and Eric, it taught us how to win. Yeah. It taught us what we needed to do to be a champion. And we carried that on because nobody even realized that. After we won the NIT, that's when we won the 2 Big Ten titles back to back. And it's because of those guys and all the advice and all the mentoring that these guys did with us, man. Eric was amazing because when I got to Michigan, Eric was one of the big reasons I came to Michigan because I needed a guard that could push the ball up the floor. And like Tim said, I was so used to, I'm the big guy. Everybody has to throw the ball inside. Well, I played center in high school like I played small forward in college because that's what I was going to be, a small forward, not a center. And so you had to learn these things, man. And with Tim and Eric and them, they taught us a whole bunch.
Yeah, I remember running the break. I always went to the right side because Rich loved to dunk off the left wing.
Yes, Tim.
Like, get out of the way. You know, Tim, you know, when you think about your years, you came in there after Mike McGee left, and then there was you had a down year, and I remember that one year you won like 7 games. I mean, maybe you were injured that year. I'm trying to think back. I usually remember
the reason we lost those games because I didn't play.
Okay, that was right. That's right. Seven with Thad Gardner was the dude. I think he was the only, or maybe he was still on the team. I'm not sure. But my point is, and then things got better, and then it was pretty consistent from that point forward. Always in the NC2A. Where do you think this program is right now with Juwan Howard? I mean, do you see this thing going forever and ever? Amen. Being in the tournament and being up, you know, not necessarily a blue blood, but up in the upper echelon.
As long as Juwan is there, the program will be elite. I look at Michigan and feel like they're one of the top 10 programs in the country. I would expect that a down year is Sweet 16. Wow. They're going to have just fantastic talent every year. And, you know, you asked earlier about Caleb and Musa and Hunter.
Yeah.
I think that they'll all test the water. and I think that they'll all come back.
Good.
But if one of them unexpectedly leaves, it may possibly be because Juwan has somebody else that he's looking at that may be a better fit right away. The truth is that this season, Michigan was really big and not as fast as their opponents. Villanova had guys that were 6'7" and could really move and could cover bigger guys.
Right.
Rich made an accurate statement earlier where he said that he thought that Caleb got tired. I also think that Caleb got figured out. There was nobody that was going to leave him, and he just didn't have the ability to create off the dribble. A summer of work on that will really help him next year to help him rough out or smooth out some of the rough edges. But it wouldn't surprise me if there's some guys out there that are future NBA players that want to come play for Juwan that we may be hearing about in the coming weeks.
Yeah, Rich and Tim, Rich, why don't you address this? I mean, it's like a blank canvas. You start all over. I mean, there's talk about this Texas Tech grad in there, and you got all the incoming freshmen, the top 7 recruiting class. I mean, how would you feel if you're a veteran and all of a sudden you got these young bucks coming in here? There's really no sense of job security anymore, is there, in college basketball? You got to prove it every year.
I think you're right. I think there is no job security, especially with I just saw Jones decide he's going to go pro when he had another year that he could have stayed. But Tim hit the nail on the head. The reason that guys like that leave is because he knows Juwan has a whole bunch of guys coming in. And when you have these young guys coming in, you make promises that they're going to get a chance to play and they get a chance to experience this college life. And he's been here for 4 years. He's been in college for 4 years. It's somebody else's turn, and I think that's how these guys look at it. I think the program is going to always be big because of the tradition of the school. Michigan is a top 10 program. Juwan is one of the best college coaches in the NCAA, and we only recruit good kids. We don't recruit bad kids. And I think that with all of us alumni being able to go back and talk to these kids, you learn a lot, man. I learned a lot from having these guys come in like Phil Hubbard to talk to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Tim, I know you're trying to shoot at a moving target right now because you don't know what the heck's going to happen, who's coming back and the portal. But the incoming recruiting class, can you address this and see what, do you know any, like, is Jet Howard, is he that good? This McDaniel, this point guard, 5'9". I mean, who are the guys that you think are going to contribute next year if you're aware of some of their talents, if you could share?
Well, the headliner is Jet Howard, and he was at the top 100 camp, so I got a chance to watch him play and spend time with him, and he is truly special. And when I think of Caleb Houston, Caleb has to be looking in the rear view a little bit.
Yeah.
Because number one, Jet is really more of the prototype college player. He's faster. He can move off the dribble. And I remember when I was coaching AAU, my son was on the team that I was coaching. And I had a kid that was first team All-State, and he committed to West Virginia, and he tried out for my team, and I cut him. And he was confused. And I said, look, I really like your game a lot, but you play the same position as my son. And I'm not doing this out of I'm doing this because I want to help my son and help kids along the way.
Yeah.
And so you can't play on my team because you're better than my son. And so, I think he understood, and Juwan will make the right decisions. He'll put the best player out there. But, if there's a lot of competition at your position, it might sway his decision. I don't know. It would be great to have that depth. I mean, to have 2 future NBA type players at small forward. Yeah. But I think Caleb's best position actually at the college level is power forward. I think he'd be really tough to match up there.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he can rebound. And, Rich, again, you're president of the Frankie Collins fan club. So talk about Frankie. He actually post-game talked about in the off season, and it really sounded sincere and focused. Like I'm going to improve my game. I'm ramping things up. Where do you think he'll end up next year, as well as Frankie, as well as Terrence Williams in terms of improvement?
I think Frankie will start next year. because I think he's bringing in another 5'9", another guard
Yeah,
to
McDaniel.
kind of compete
Yeah.
with Frankie, and that's going to keep Frankie pushing and keep him going. I think. Listen, I think we have a nucleus of a really good team. I think that these young kids, man, having Juwan Howard as a coach is going to be amazing. And I saw Jet Howard play against Mount Vernon, okay, in IMG game. I saw him play.
Okay.
And I'm going to be honest, I was impressed, man. I was impressed with this
Really?
kid at 6'9". This boy, man, I was saying to because I talked to my son about all these guys I see that's young from, IMG and Mount Vernon, these places. And
Yeah.
Caleb might have to change positions.
That's what Tim said, man.
Because not only can Jet run the floor, but Jet can shoot.
Yeah.
And my thing is I'm looking forward to seeing Jet play. And like Tim said, I understand kids who play for their parents. My son played on an AAU team, and the guy in front of him, dad was the coach.
Yeah.
And it was my son's last year for that AAU team, and I wish I would have had an AAU team to coach him in.
Yeah.
Because Tim's right. That makes it. Listen, man, we want to do stuff for other people, but one of our main objectives is to help our children.
Volunteering. I mean, come on.
Right.
I mean, this is you're out there with your own discretionary time. That's hard stuff. I understand that, Tim. What you did. I love how you were really candid with that young man and just being honest with him. I mean, that's probably
the best way.
An awkward thing to do. Tim, I want to ask you about one more thing about your viewpoint, because I fantasized about having Michigan have a point guard, maybe that Derek Walton thing going on here, where all else fails, the point guard can create his own shot and knock down a 3 or a 2, whatever. Where is the point guard situation in your mind? Who's going to be that guy, and what has to be the description of that point guard?
Great question. Biggest question mark for sure. Doug McDaniel was at the top 100 camp as well, and I really like him a lot. He actually plays like Frankie Collins. Doug McDaniel gets after you. He's really tough. He's physical. He makes it hard for the other team just to get the ball over half court. But I bet that if you got inside Juwan's heart and inside of his head, he would say that we can't win a Big Ten title with a freshman that has never played and a sophomore in Collins that played limited minutes. They're not deep enough. They're not good enough at the point guard. 2 years from now, they will be. I think that's going to be the biggest target in the transfer portal is getting a point guard or a combo guard like Eli Brooks that can play some point if you need. But that's the biggest question that this team has. They need somebody that can shoot the ball from the perimeter because this is a weak shooting team right now.
Big time.
And they need somebody with some experience at the point guard.
Yeah, and who would that candidate be, Tim? Is there somebody out there you're aware of or not?
I mean, I'm totally aware of the point guards that are out there, and there are some really good ones. I'm not going to throw any names out there yet.
Okay.
Because it's very speculative, but
yeah.
I think if you go on the message boards and if you go on the portal, and I was on the portal the other day just looking through, there's a lot of good players out there that average double figures in power conferences that are available, and I think that they would love a call from Juwan Howard, especially when Juwan can say, "Look, our starting shooting guard Eli Brooks is gone, and our starting point guard is Devontae Jones, and he's gone. And I need somebody to run the team." I think eyes are going to light up and say, "Count me in."
Yeah. And Rich, about Terrence Williams, boy, he brought that energy in that Tennessee game with the putbacks and everything. I mean, what in your mind does he have to improve on his game?
I think what he needs to do is enhance some of the stuff that he's already know how to do. Because I think if he rebounds better, because we don't have a problem with Terrence shooting. Terrence is a good shooter. He drives to the basket well. I think he needs to bulk up a little bit and be a little stronger. Just get a little stronger.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm ready for basketball season to start already, guys.
Me too.
It's a long way. I'm excited about Michigan football. Last question to you, Tim. I mean, on the Big Ten Network, they're talking about who might be the Big Ten viable champion next year. I mean, does Michigan I mean, Illinois is losing a lot of guys, and they just had obviously a transfer, a point guard just leave. I mean, where do you, if you had to have a gun to your head, who's going to be the Big Ten champion next year in the Big Ten?
There's no way of knowing. I mean, I don't want to duck the question. There's nobody that you could say they are the favorite. There is going to be such an overhaul with the transfer portal, and it's getting worse and worse. That there's going to be over 1,000 players in the transfer portal, and I would be surprised if some of the guys on Michigan's team that we thought were coming back may go into the transfer portal. There are pros in the transfer portal. Think about Andre Curbelo. Like, he's a key guy that had an off year. I'm not saying Michigan would want him or go after him, but there are going to be a lot of players like that. And every day for the next 3 weeks, there's going to be somebody new where you say, wow, how would that guy fit at Wisconsin? How would he fit at Michigan State? Michigan State, I think, will be a real player as well.
Yeah. Tom Izzo is pretty open-minded all of a sudden about different kinds of stuff. And Richard Rellford, I do know one thing, that if the transfer portal was in play in the early 80s, I don't think you would have entered the portal. I think you would have stayed for threes and play with McCormick and the dudes at Michigan.
I would have sat on top of him. I would not have let him make the phone call. That would not have happened.
Yo, listen, I would have never did it anyway, man, because I love Michigan, man. I think it's one of the greatest places in the world.
He's Richard Rellford, all Rell and Good. It's always great to have his fellow teammates on there. No better in terms of intel and just great insight than Tim McCormick, the former Wolverine, number 44 out of Clarkston, Michigan. Thanks so much, guys, and let's reconnect. Maybe in the offseason we'll bring Tim back in as the portal unplays. Maybe when we get a full roster, we'll evaluate that in May when we finally find out who's going to play for Michigan in 22-23. So thanks so much, Tim.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, see ya.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.